Frost faces a $7 million shocker. Kirk Frost, known for his drama on Love and Hip Hop, is now in a real-life saga. Jasmine, his ex, filed for a staggering $7 million in child support. Yes, you heard right.
Kirk Frost sat in his lavish living room, surrounded by sleek furniture and vibrant family photos that captured happier moments. But today, the atmosphere was thick with tension. He stared at his phone, heart pounding, as he processed the shocking news. Jasmine, his ex, had filed for child support and the amount. A staggering $7 million. It felt like a punch to the gut. Just days earlier, they had shared a laugh over breakfast, their son's laughter echoing in the background. How had things gone so wrong so quickly? Memories of their troubled relationship flooded his mind. They had been through so much, surviving storms that would have torn other couples apart. Yet this felt different. This felt like betrayal. Kirk ran a hand through his hair, frustration and disbelief swirling inside him. $7 million, he muttered under his breath, shaking his head. What was this really about? It wasn't just a number, it was a declaration of war. The weight of the situation pressed down on him like a suffocating blanket, and he felt trapped. He thought back to their history. Their passionate beginnings, the fiery arguments, the moments that felt like magic. They had loved each other fiercely, fought even harder, but somewhere along the way, they had lost their way. Now, standing on the brink of a legal battle, he was overwhelmed by a mix of anger and heartbreak. Was it always this way, he wondered? Did Jasmine ever truly believe in them? The memory of their last conversation echoed in his mind, a heated argument that ended in tears and accusations. The unresolved tension between them still hung in the air, like a solid, unshakable force. Desperate for clarity, he picked up the phone and called his attorney. "I need to understand my options," he said, trying to sound calm despite the chaos inside. This can't be happening. The conversation with his lawyer was a blur of legal terms and possible outcomes, but one thing stood out: he needed to protect himself and his son. When he hung up, a mix of dread and determination gripped him. He wasn't going to let this fight define him. "I've always been there for my family," he reminded himself. "This isn't just about money. It's about my son's future." The stakes had never been higher, and he couldn't let his emotions cloud his judgment. Later that evening, he met up with friends at a local bar. The music thumped in the background, and laughter filled the air, but the dark cloud hanging over him remained. As soon as he sat down, the conversation turned to Jasmine. "Man, did you hear about the child support thing?" One friend joked, raising his beer in a mock salute. Kirk's heart raced with a mixture of anger and embarrassment. "It's not a joke, man. This is serious," he said, his voice tight with emotion. The laughter died down, replaced by concerned glances. "I never thought it would come to this," he admitted, leaning back in his chair. "We've had our issues, but $7 million. It feels like a betrayal." His friends listened intently, their expressions shifting from amusement to sympathy. They knew the history of his relationship with Jasmine, the passionate love that had, at times, turned toxic. One of his friends, brow furrowed in concern, asked, "What's your next move?" Kirk's response was immediate. "I'm going to fight," he said, his voice steady. "I'm not going to let her take everything from me. I care about our son too much to let this destroy us." The fire in his voice surprised even him. This wasn't just about the money, it was about dignity and his right to be a father. As the night wore on, surrounded by friends who supported him, he began to see a path forward. "I'll seek legal advice, and I'll make sure everything is fair," he said, his resolve solidifying. "I still care about Jasmine, despite everything. I want to co-parent, but I won't be walked over." The conversation shifted to lighter topics, but Kirk's mind remained sharp, focused on the battle ahead. He knew the road would be rocky, filled with emotional turmoil and challenges, but he was ready to fight for his family. As he left the bar, a sense of empowerment washed over him. Back home, he looked at the photos of their son, a smile breaking through the clouds of uncertainty. Whatever happened, he whispered to himself, I'll make sure he knows he's loved. The fire inside him burned brighter, driving him to face the storm with strength and dignity. He was ready for whatever came next, prepared to reclaim his life and secure a bright future for his son. It all began like any other night at the Frost residence. Kirk and Rasheeda had just returned home after a long day of business meetings and promotional appearances. The couple, known for their entrepreneurial spirit, had been juggling their careers with family life. But something was off. As Kirk sat in his plush living room, staring at his phone in disbelief, the life he once knew seemed to unravel in front of him. The $7 million child support claim wasn't just a number, it was a symbol of everything that had gone wrong. He couldn't fathom how things had gotten to this point. How had they gone from sharing laughs over breakfast to a bitter legal battle? Yet, as he reflected on their relationship, he realized that the signs had always been there. The passionate love, the fiery arguments, the highs and lows, it was a cycle that had repeated itself over the years. Now, with their future hanging in the balance, Kirk knew one thing for sure: this wasn't just about the money. This was about his family, his dignity, and his son's future. He was ready to fight for it all, no matter the cost. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, Kirk felt a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't going to let his past mistakes or the bitterness of the present determine his future. He had a son to protect, and he would do whatever it took to make sure that his son's future was secure. The fight was just beginning, and Kirk was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their marriage had been on the rocks for a while, but it was hard to see just how deep the cracks ran. On the surface, Kirk and Rasheeda tried to hold things together, but beneath it all, there were growing tensions. Rumors about Kirk's loyalty had started to circulate, and Rasheeda's frustrations were becoming more and more obvious. What began as a small disagreement over household matters quickly turned into a full-blown argument. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and before they knew it, the conversation had taken a nasty turn. What should have been a minor spat had spiraled into something much worse, and the atmosphere in their home was thick with anger. It was like something out of a TV show, but this wasn't scripted, it was real life. The situation took a turn no one saw coming when concerned neighbors, disturbed by the noise, called 911. The police arrived to find a tense scene. Rasheeda looked shaken, her eyes red from crying. The officers quickly assessed the situation, spoke to both of them, and decided to arrest Kirk. The news spread like wildfire, and social media exploded with reactions. Fans who had watched the couple's journey through ups and downs couldn't believe what was happening. Their favorite couple was in the middle of a scandal that no one expected. Rasheeda's emotional Instagram post made things worse. She shared a message about deserving respect and safety, accompanied by a photo of her looking both strong and vulnerable. The message was a punch to the gut for those who followed her. It was clear this wasn't just about one bad night, it was the result of years of unresolved issues between them. Celebrity insiders began speculating about how the pressures of reality TV fame might have contributed to their problems. The constant need to maintain a perfect image while dealing with personal struggles could create a powder keg of emotions, just waiting for a spark. The relationship, which had always been public, was now crumbling in full view of their fans. In the days that followed, the fallout was intense. Fans were split. Some supported Rasheeda, urging her to stay safe and stand up for herself, while others sided with Kirk, asking for understanding and compassion. Many fans struggled to come to terms with the situation, saying they had seen the couple go through so much already. The tension was palpable both online and offline. Rasheeda, in search of clarity, turned to close friends and family for support. She started reflecting on the years she had spent with Kirk, weighing the good times against the bad. For every romantic trip they had taken, there seemed to be a moment of betrayal or disappointment. What appeared to be a perfect life on camera was far from the truth behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Kirk was facing the legal consequences of his actions. As he prepared for court, he struggled to make sense of what had happened. "I never wanted it to go this far," he said in a statement. "I love Rasheeda, and I want to make things right." But even as he expressed regret, it was clear that the road to reconciliation wasn't going to be easy. Rasheeda, on the other hand, was focusing on her own well-being and that of her children. Those close to her hinted that she was seriously considering her future without Kirk. The idea of starting over was both frightening and freeing. As the day of the court hearing drew closer, the speculation intensified. Would Kirk take responsibility for his actions? Would Rasheeda stick by him, or would she choose to move on? Then came the shocking revelation from Kirk that would change everything. Leaning against the polished countertop of his studio, he began to share a truth that had sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. According to Kirk, Rasheeda had allegedly stolen $9 million from their joint business ventures. "This isn't just a rumor, this is something I've been dealing with for far too long," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I trusted her, and to find out she's been taking money from us feels like a betrayal on every level."